Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday night. It's Ben's Brick Designs. How are y'all doing? I'm here with Johnny. I'm here with Vab. We're here to hang out and do Lego stuff tonight. So if you are joining us, let us know in the chat. We're going to talk Lego. We're going to talk Star Wars. We're going to talk rocketry. We're going to talk aviation and Harry Potter and whatever else is out there right now. So welcome, everybody. All the things, all the nerd stuff. So if
all the nerdy stuff, that's right.
Talk about nerd stuff. That's what we're here for. This is my good drink. You wanted a good drink, so this is what we're doing tonight. We're doing best made pickle beer.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
If you are not a fan, or if you're not aware that Best Made does a, it's not by Best Made. It's by Martin House. I don't know. Okay. I'm still not used to these bifocals because I'm still doing this.
I just
can literally just do this now. Hello, Missy. How are you?
Hi,
good
Missy.
to have you here. So this is Martin House, and I love Martin House Brewing. They do a lot of good stuff. They kind of got onto the scene pretty famously for doing this pickle beer, and it literally is like drinking pickle juice out of a jar. That's exactly what it tastes like. So if you like doing that, it's good. It's good for one beer. I think after that, you're like, I don't think I can do that again. Ooh, love it. Yeah, a friend of mine got a 6-pack of it, and he's like, we had 2. We're good. I figured you might like these. I'm like, yes, I would. Thank you.
Yes, I would once.
Yeah. So I have 4 in my fridge now, and every couple weeks, I'll be like, it's time for pickle beer.
There's a place down in the Strip District called Grandpa Joe's.
Oh, yeah.
They sell pickle pop.
Yeah.
Pickle
Grandpa
soda.
Joe's is... They're all old classic type stuff as far as like candy and things like that go.
Yeah. Sounds like a great place.
It is.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It has the old Coca-Cola with like the cocaine in it, and
I don't think it's that far. I wish, but no. They have everything else though. I mean, like they have like the old time, and they're always playing the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
nice. So I am working on tonight.
It's raining.
I'm gonna flip around and show you guys. I actually built some stuff. Let me see if it'll pick up. But this is what I've been working on back here. You can kind of see it.
Ooh.
So this is I went a little nuts. This is the original layout that I did for a Horizon Zero Dawn thing with the sawtooth there, and then I just added some stuff in front, added a little beach, and then I'm gonna put, where is he, my little crocodile guy on that beach in front. But then I added a huge bit of, and it's hard to see from this angle, but a bit of ruins back there, and stuck in a couple other machines, and then Aloy is climbing up the ruins. So that's what I've been working on this week.
That looks fantastic.
I'm going to try to take most of that to our meeting on Saturday, and our meeting is, we had 1x2 click hinge pieces, and as the seed parts, and the theme was flexibility. So I tried to put in some flex tubes in there and make everything a little wobbly, and so we'll see how it shakes out. But it turned out pretty good. And then I just went crazy. I'm like, I'm just going to start building scenery. So that's what I've been doing. On top of then doing the behemoth as well, because I can't have just one project. You got to have a ton. So what are you guys working on?
Good, Beth.
I'll go. Working on Super Heavy still. Just finishing up for next stream. And
that's very tall.
Well, that's
what did you reach?
Well, I'm going to show you what I'm.
I will show you what I did.
I'm at 91 inches for
Whoa.
the tower.
Nice.
Ladies.
Anything more than 4 and it's too much.
Oh, this is going to be way too much.
With
But
the
it's
mobile
gonna be
for
fun when it's done. Even got
That's
the
impressive, man.
capture arm. I just did a wireframe of the capture arm for right now. None of this actually will work.
I forgot if I asked you guys. Did you see the set? I think it was a Rebrickable thing that was an Apollo 11 gantry that you could make out of 3 other sets.
I did not.
Oh yes, I had.
Cool. We had a guy in our group who is notorious for also like motorizing everything. He the set itself comes from like the giant wheel excavator and the big old crane and like one other giant Technic set and with motors in it. So like the gantry has like a working motor elevator that's attached to like a tension string that you got to work on.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The caps and the like jetway, gangway planks and stuff have a motor that pulls it away, and it has a super geared down motor for the crawler that it's on that it goes real slow, so it actually moves. It's really impressive, and it's effing huge.
Yeah, I know Bricks in Space. A lot of people that are on there, I've seen it done plenty of times.
Yeah, it's super cool. So what do you got, Johnny? What are you working on over there?
I am working on the gift with purchase Blacktron Cruiser.
Nice.
As long as I get it done within the hour, and if I do, then I'm going to build this little guy.
Nice.
little harken back to Kmart and rides that you got to do when you were little.
Right. Well, cool.
Or your store of choice.
Yeah, it was really cool to see in person. He emailed.
I can imagine.
Emailed all of us in the group and was like, "Hey, I've got this thing. I don't think I can bring it, but here it is." And he took a picture, and everyone's like, "Just bring it to the meeting. You have a minivan. Figure it out." So technically, it wasn't a mock, so he couldn't get credit for like I brought this mock to the meeting and get voted on and get some swag from the group and everything.
Right.
But what he did build was a giant plank that he could tip the whole thing, or he could, while it's in place, he could attach it to this giant plank he built to all the little, he put Technic pins all up and down it so it would attach to it, and then he could lay it flat without everything falling apart.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was really cool. So we were able to vote on that because that was something he built for it.
Right.
And ended up getting a handful of votes and everyone, because it was structurally impressive.
Yeah. I mean, all you need is one, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if you brought something to a meeting and you built it, and it's your design, even if nobody votes on it, you're still going to get stuff. You just have last pick of whatever it's brought. So
that's cool.
Everybody leaves with something, hopefully. One of these days, I'm going to bring 25 sets, and we're going to have 30 mocks, and I'm going to have to short change people or something. It's just hard to bring 30 sets.
Yeah, I think it's doable. It depends on the size of the sets, obviously.
I'm also bringing like bags of parts. So like the lug makes orders from Lug Bulk. So the lug actually will put in an order and buy parts specifically. So during the course of the year, we can hand out parts to people and stuff. And in some cases, I just have bags of 200 1x1 round red tiles. I'm like, well, there's somebody can have that. That's a thing. For the longest time, and I still have a box of this stuff, we have like non-Lego sets, like nano bricks.
Oh yeah.
We have DVDs of Lego shows. We have Lego video games, like disc video games, like PS3 maybe stuff. It's like nobody's gonna want this. I bring it every once in a while, but nobody's really gonna want that.
You never know. Someone will be a collector and they'll be like, oh yeah.
Trying to figure out how to make this work.
So it's raining really hard outside right now of my house, and it's a good thing I got my packing done. My car is packed.
What's your packing for?
It's for Brickery.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
like
that was
I'm
last weekend.
No. That's this weekend. Last weekend was our we had nothing actually. That was me putting in the spider.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, okay, cool. At the store.
yeah. And so this weekend is Brick Erie, and I am leaving at 6 in the morning to get up there for 8 and unpack everything along with the other guy that's helping me out with the Hoth base and everything, and we
Yeah.
spend 6 hours putting everything together.
Right. So how much of the Hoth base is yours?
I have all the base plates that are outside the base, plus the AT-AT, the Millennium Falcon that we're putting in it and everything. A number of I have all the turrets, the radar dish things.
Yep.
I really don't have many figures, so like we're getting a set of figures from one guy, the rebel guys from one guy, another lug guy has the snowtroopers coming up. Hey, Builds by Matt, how you doing?
Hello, Matt. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
And then the other guy that's meeting me up there tomorrow, he built the actual, like where like the doors are and like the walls essentially of the base, and then so we put it all together, and he has the trenches, and we put that all together, and
nice.
Yeah. Good stuff. So it's going to be a madhouse there. Oh, and I've got the train stuff for the speeder to go around the walker.
That's always like I think just simple motion on any mock, I think adds a whole different layer of people wanting to come look at it. Doesn't even matter what it is really. Which I feel like is why trains are so successful, because I won't say it's simple, because it's it's getting the layout right and getting the ballast plate for all the track to make sure it works is complicated, but everyone seems to love them.
Well, yeah, any kind. I think it's just movement in general. Like normally, like you can have the most extensive Lego model, and it looks impressive, absolutely. But like when you add movement, it's that extra dimension of like it's alive, kind of, And, I think people that's really attractive. It just is.
And that was the one thing I wanted to add to my tower, was the movement of that crane up and down.
Right.
But my gearing, it took me forever just to figure out this, and I don't think with how much this
little targeting computer
arms are, the chopsticks, I don't think it's going to be able to hold all the weight, being able to do everything.
Oh.
So for right now, I think I'll still do the string and everything to keep it up at a certain spot, and then just put a block and then put the string coming down and doing whatever.
Yeah. Look at this little targeting computer they have in here. I like how they did this. Like they have the little
that's almost an illegal build. I know it's not, but it feels
it's not. Yeah, it does. You're right, absolutely. Because I was putting it on there, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this.
I mean, if a minifig hand can hold it, then
right,
clip can hold it.
It's not focusing. Yeah, I'll get it. Alright, what's next? Oh, another decal. Of course.
My oldest child was adorable. They just asked if I'd seen Unbreakable. Well, they started off with, I'm assuming you've seen Unbreakable. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, this movie is so good. I'm like, well,
it is.
Wait till you get to the end, because the end is kind of, but it is a very fun movie.
It is.
And I was like, now you go watch Split and then Glass as the trilogy.
Yep. And I think, unfortunately, that's a lot the way M. Night Shyamalan does things. Like, he has really good starts for his movies, and then all of a sudden it's like, like the ending is like, well, wait a minute, that's kind of not the best.
Yeah. That's been the case with like a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't even see what was the newest one he did, Old.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Where people
Camera's
like
not-
go into the water and come out older or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know that one was a thing.
Yup.
Camera's
So
not
this kind of
fixed.
upsets me. I don't know if this is actually a legal move. It's just a Technic connector and a round
Technic
plate,
sleeve, yeah.
and it should go in there okay.
It should,
But
yeah.
I don't think it's stressing anything. Like nothing's being pinched closed. It might be stressing the studs, but
I
they're
always
being
thought that was illegal.
thought it was
really?
illegal.
No, illegal. I thought that
Oh yeah,
was,
yeah.
So I've used that a couple times in different builds and never heard anything from it.
I swear I've seen that or very similar to
Yeah,
that
I think
on
I've seen stuff like
a
this
set.
in sets.
And it wasn't
But it
necessarily into the piece that you're putting it into, but it was into a piece that had like 4 studs around it or something like that.
Right, yeah. And this doesn't necessarily have to be this. I just noticed that it doesn't go into it very well. So it's like,
Right.
is that actually not a connection that's doable? So, yeah. So my oldest child, again, coming at me with, have you heard this thing that you obviously should have seen or heard, and I just don't realize. Oh, that works.
They had two sequel movies after that. I just thought they were doing the one Unbreakable one. That was it.
They were.
Yeah, they were. And then,
then
like, what was it? 10 years later, they did Split. And then
Yep.
a year after that, they did Glass. And everyone's like, what?
Did they have Bruce Willis and
Yep.
Samuel L. Jackson back in them?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. They had all the characters.
I must have
And
been
it was-
overseas or something because I'm just that detached from what's going on around me.
What's up, Mayo? How's it going?
Hey, Mayo.
So I'm very excited about this because I think this will work. This is my first. I think there might be a little collision here, but I'm going to try to roll with it. My first actual Bionicle piece that works really well. Comes in the right color and is like perfect for this leg piece. I'm going to get a better picture.
What was that? Very light bluish gray?
No, very light bluish gray. I wish. Stupid. Why did that not work?
The camera doesn't want to focus down here anymore. Jerk.
I thought I had better. That's probably pretty good. Yeah, this leg piece right here, up the upper thigh kind of thing. I think that works perfect. Looks exactly like it.
Hey, yeah.
If it works,
say
it works.
I say it's legal.
Yeah, I just hope it fits and doesn't like collide with the hip that I'm using. We'll find out.
Watching the NFL, that's not important.
Yeah. See ya, Mayo. Lego's done that a bunch of times. The feet of almost every ATTE uses that technique. That's fair. Oh yeah, they do. I think what they do too is they put a pin in it or a small one of those 2-length axles. If to nothing else, just to stabilize it. I could probably get away with doing that if I had like a hole. If I put it all through here, but I just want it on there, and this is small enough that I don't have to worry about it.
So the dude's gun fits in there, or his little scanner thing. It fits right there in the front of the cockpit.
Cool.
That's funny. I like it. I like when they do stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
hey, the
little
minifigures
cargo.
need their thing.
They did that with the Shin Hati's fighter.
Oh yeah.
It's got this thing on it that opens up, kind of takes that whole panel off, and there's room to put stuff in there. But then there's another compartment to put a blaster in there, and there's a blaster in there. So it's got like
that's cool.
a smuggler's compartment in the smuggler's compartment. Yo,
So
dog,
he's-
we heard you like compartments.
He's smuggling the smuggling.
Let's see. Either a 2-length axle or the 2 long. Yeah, one of those two. All right, so
Oh, I had mentioned Leroy Jenkins. And you
Right.
said you were. That was right before we went on.
Leroy. We were watching. Who were we talking to? I was talking to somebody recently, and I think it was friends at trivia. No, it was somebody recent. Anyway, I was in theater in college, and our our theater director was named Cookie. It was not her given name, but that's the name she had.
Oh, I was gonna say Cookie Masterson.
No. And she was just this little German Jewish lady. She was super sweet and very expressive and whatever. And I remember she had a young son named Ben. And he would occasionally show up to shows. He didn't go to like all the classes that we were in, anything, but he was occasionally at shows.
Okay.
So we kind of knew who he was. He wasn't around all the time, but we knew who he was. And she had 2 or 3 kids, maybe just 1. I only met Ben. Anyway, years and years later, she contacts me on Facebook and says, I have some of your old comic book artwork. Would you like it back? Because we're like,
Ooh.
cleaning up stuff. And I was like, are you dying? And she was like, no, nothing bad. We're just kind of cleaning up. And I kind of ran into it and just wanted to know if you wanted it. I'm like, oh, sure. Why not? My art back then is terrible. Why not? So she mails it to me, and I mail her, message her back and was like, hey, I got that in the mail. Thanks. She's like, I think I have a couple more. I'll send them to you. And she's like, by the way, you like video games, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gamer, but I usually buy a game and spend about 3 to 6 months on it and then buy another game kind of thing. She's like, oh, okay. Do you know Leroy Jenkins? And I'm like, yes, I know of one of the greatest video game memes of all time. She's like, that was my son. That was Ben. I'm like, what?
Are you serious?
And she's like, and then she goes radio silence for like a week. And I'm like, you don't just tell me that and then leave it. I have so many questions. So yeah, apparently he and his buddies, it was totally staged.
Right, yeah.
And he and his buddies were doing like all kinds of stuff like this to upload to like eBums World or stuff back in the day. It was just have fun doing stuff, right?
Oh, I remember eBombs. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, eBums World. Oh, this is why, because I was talking to a friend of mine. We went to trivia that got canceled, but we were in a fun place, so we're just like, we'll just hang out here. And he was talking about Something Awful, and I was like, oh, Something Awful. That reminds me of like eBums World and Newgrounds and all that kind of stuff. And so I told him the story, and he's like, what? I'm like, I know. Apparently, it was just like they did a bunch of skits like this, and this one just happened to take off. Like, that is wild. That is so manic and wild and weird, So anyway, I thought it was a fun story.
You knew Leroy's mom.
Yeah, I knew your mom. Are y'all gonna get any of the mock pop-up store things from Bricklink? I don't know. That just came up a couple days ago, yesterday, something like that.
I noticed it today, and it's actually something I was gonna bring up.
Let's take a look. That's a great conversation piece, Vab and Matt. Let's take a look at this.
What an idea.
So the mock pop-up, I believe, is mocks that have been done by the Bricklink Designer Program, correct?
Yes.
And now are available, like they're kind of bringing them back out of the vault, like Disney would. And if you'd like to buy them, you can. So if you go to Bricklink...
I don't think it... I think it's like the top... it wasn't from the Brick... Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I didn't know. I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, your favorite Bricklink Designer Program designs. Yep. So I'm assuming these are ones that either made it or didn't make it.
Well, that's the only 2 choices.
Well, like got enough votes to make it, but weren't.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
so
they
like
weren't.
A Lego Ideas gets 10,000. Maybe they got 10,000, but just didn't produce them. I don't know.
Right.
Oh,
there's a bunch of them on here from earlier.
Yeah, the Brachiosaurus. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's badass.
Oh, and I still have. I mean, I still have all my fossils together. I should get this one.
I thought
so
Oh, yes,
this-
like the T-Rex and the Triceratops or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought this one was the coolest one out of all of them. The ant farm.
The
the ant
ants.
farm. That's
Yeah.
pretty rad. So this looks like you can. You're basically trying to get all the prices range. So I think what they're doing is saying you can buy it through Bricklink and stores will fulfill it, but there's a range based on how much those pieces are in which store.
Well, I would take it as the low end being used pieces
Mm-hmm.
and the high end being all new pieces.
Okay.
That's the way I took it.
So if we were to look at like the container house, which is pretty cool.
Looks like a
Make
snub
as much.
fighter.
Choose the stores to fulfill your parts. Check out and produce your digital building instructions. Do a little happy dance. Okay. The price is for parts is an estimate range. This did not include shipping and handling.
Huh.
And
So your
tax.
building instructions are random price by the looks of it, $17.12. The parts can be anywhere from $340 to $405, let's say dollars, which is kind of expensive considering it's 2,400 parts. So I would think that I'd want to spend, if this were a Lego set, $250. But because I feel like some of these parts, because this doesn't get taken over by Lego to then turn into a model that can be sold retail wise, there's probably a lot of parts in here that are a little more hard to come by. So that would probably be the reason for the price. And so, you know, you can go and find some really cool stuff here. A lot of houses and
opinion
buildings.
Well, one just popped up, and it looks exactly like the one of the Steeler androids.
Oh, look at that thing,
Oh,
though.
look at that. Da-da-da-da-da-da,
Yeah, I mean,
da-da-da-da-da.
it just exactly reminded me. I mean, it says it's Blacktron, but this reminded me of one of
It's the Fox
Yeah.
robot.
And I always thought those were the coolest robots that they could ever, like the coolest little
I
thing that they
know.
could ever do. And that thing looks awesome.
I
may get
really
that.
wanted. I've always kind of wanted to go into motion graphics and I feel like the high point would be working on an NFL game. That to me is like the pinnacle of motion graphics.
I can see that, yeah.
And whoever designed and got to animate that robot, I'm like, oh man. But it also combines Lego Pick-a-Brick, really?
Oh, that's definitely Blacktron. Look at that thing is. All right, yeah. You know what? I'm kind of happy about that. I need to get that.
It could be
This one's
yours
pretty
for
cool too.
$168 to $202 minus tax and shipping.
That's actually not bad for that Mac.
No, not for that. You know what that reminds me of? I mean, obviously it reminds you of the Hulkbuster, but it looks way better. Look at that.
It also
yeah.
reminds me of Space Marines from
StarCraft.
StarCraft.
Yep. That thing
Oh,
looks.
look at that.
That's awesome.
They really got some bad angles on it though
Yeah.
for the picks.
Nice.
I mean, that one's pretty decent. That actually shows you pretty much the size and everything. But
I'm kind of a fan of the giant tiger prawn. I like weird shit like this. I think there was a Nautilus too. I think somebody did a Nautilus.
I think
pretty
that
cool
one was on Lego Ideas though.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. I mean, they tried it on Lego Ideas. It didn't make it through, and then they threw it on, and then it made it through the submission.
They must have changed their TOS for this because when I originally submitted to Lego Ideas, they're like, and this was before they took over, or they went into an agreement with Bricklink.
Right.
But at the time, they're like, you can't post this once you submit it here. If it doesn't make it and you delete it from this site, kind of thing, you can't post anywhere else for like 3 years.
What?
For sale.
Yeah.
For sale.
Right.
You can post it on like Instagram or whatever, but like I couldn't put it up on Rebrickable and sell instructions for $10 or something. You could sell them for free, but
look at these connectors. Well, that's not selling. You see these? These are weird.
those
I've never seen these.
You've never seen those?
I've never
Hold
seen
those
these
up
on
again?
anything. Yeah, I got it. So it's this thing.
So those are very
That goes into it.
common in pearl gold. They were first out in like this weird pearl gold color. And
so
then
that goes
dark gray.
Yeah. So those two, and then this will go in there, and then there'll be more on the top. But yeah,
Yep.
I never seen
You can
these.
flip it over and have it like upside down.
Yep. Or reversed or whatever. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had never seen those.
Well, that's cool. So yeah, that's new news stuff. The mock pop-up store. I don't know how long this will be around. Maybe under the FAQs. It'll pilot program that runs to the end of from the end of August to mid-November. So get your orders in now by November 15th. It's a pilot program, which means if it's successful, they probably will redo it with later series. So it looks like 1 and 2 were in this one.
I don't think they got enough to do another one.
Probably not.
I
know, like I'm, other than Lego ideas, I'm really, and I don't know why, but I don't like putting stuff up on Bricklink's gallery or the mock submission stuff.
I used to before Lego took it over.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
because I was putting microfighters up there until I read that they were like, "Oh, now it belongs to us now," and I'm like, "Oh, no."
See, and that's so bad. They're just like, no.
Well, here's the reason why I stopped doing it. So when you go into, say, my gallery, you can, when you publish it. Let's see if I studio. Where is it? Is it gallery? No, it's not gallery. You can still pop up even though you go for, it says for display only. Meaning you don't want anybody seeing a 3D model of it. You don't want anybody to see the building steps or anything. But as you can see, I can click on building steps or 3D model. Yeah. Before Lego took that over, you couldn't even, those weren't even an option on there. If you selected that as a setting when you published it, you couldn't see a 3D model of it or do buildings. So everybody now just jams it all into one or two steps. But you also had the option that you could do the building steps, show the 3D model. But since Lego took it, like I said, since Lego took it over, the option's just up there. There's no safety for the designers or anything.
That's crazy.
That is weird. I mean, that just seems, I don't know. And I know Lego's running a business and stuff, but again, it just seems like there are just certain decisions that they do that are just kind of like, well, you guys are doing dumb things. Don't do that. Like, because people always want a place to be able to showcase their stuff. And yeah, there's plenty of social media things, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, places like, you know, Bricklink are places people go. I mean, constantly to be like, hey, we need to find whatever. And, you know, that should be, you know, that makes sense that like, hey, this is a Lego place and people are going to come here. They should be able to view that stuff or whatever. And people that are putting those, you know, their stuff up there should not have like, you know, potential fear of like, oh, I could like lose the rights to my thing.
Yeah. They want the confidence of being able to do it securely.
Yeah.
I think that's too big. Cool.
So what did you get on September?
Designs. You need to pull those down, man.
So what did you get on September 1st?
I got nothing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm holding out to see what's going to be available on April Day.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for that. I'm hoping that maybe I can get the what is that called? The big plane.
Concorde?
Yeah, 15% off because it worked before.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's gonna work for me. But there was one set that they had this last time that I was like, that was like the soccer set or something. I was like, that only came out like a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was still available. But I'm also like, well, nobody wants this set. That's why.
Yeah, I think they can pretty quickly see after they release something what the demand is for it, and they can determine from there.
So I'm hoping that one is. Some of the Star Wars sets I think might be, because they're going to be less than 100. Some of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
The spider one, I'll probably get that. I've been holding off on that. That's really it. Like, I don't, the Concorde and, the insects. I hope the insects are available too.
Oh, the insects look really cool.
Yeah.
Really
so
good.
That's really all I'm going to get. And I held off doing September 1st because I was going to try to do it AFall Day, but that also means that they might be sold out. So who knows? But here's the other news that I can't really talk about. Is there's been some rumblings about the release date and price and piece count and maybe an image or two of the UCS Venator.
Woo, 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 woo.
And I can't talk about it, but you guys sure can bring it up and talk about it and whatever. I posted, I found a thing on the Brick Escape with rumored leaked upcoming new Lego Star Wars sets, and it was included in that, and I posted on the LAN, the Ambassador Network, and I haven't got a response yet about whether it's actually a leak or if that's like honest promo material that just hasn't been
fully released.
Right. Yeah, like if they just got it a week early or something like that. So there's that. So I need $650 by October 1st, which is also why I'm not buying anything September 1st. Rolling my Lego budget into, because I think the only thing I really got September 1st was the E-Wing Shin Hati fighter.
Which you had to.
But I also pre-ordered that from like 3 months ago or 4 months ago or whatever it was. So that came early, but that was it.
The Venator, just the look of it and everything looks really cool, but unfortunately for me, as cool as it is, I have a Star Destroyer. I can't justify. I know the Venator's a little unique because it's not your typical just, hey, here's a triangle. But I just cannot unfortunately justify that one. As cool as it looks, I absolutely would love to, but don't have the room right now, and it's a little pricey for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I probably have room for it if I got rid of. Nope, I don't have room for it. Well, I'm looking like the big display shelf I have over here. The top shelf's all UCS stuff. I'm not doing anything with that. The second shelf is some recent big things, but I probably don't need the child. I could probably take that apart. But the rest of it is like 40th anniversary stuff or 25th anniversary stuff or whatever. Like the Viper droid and the Executor and the Nebulon B and then R2. Then under that's there's a bunch of stuff in there I can take apart. Yeah, I don't need any of that. Yeah, I could move some stuff around. I've kept the Architens, the light cruiser, only because I don't have a Star Destroyer. So the Venator would be my purchase. That would be my Star Destroyer purchase.
Yeah, I think it definitely is cool, unique. Definitely has really neat lines.
And the picture I saw wasn't was actually pretty good. It wasn't stud heavy like the skin of the Star Destroyer. It looked very tiled, which was kind of nice. Is this footprint bigger?
I see a lot of Venator mocks. I'm wondering if somebody put it on a Lego box as a joke.
Well, they may have put the image out as like, this is what we think it's going to be. And then used like somebody's mock image. Like I could totally see somebody doing that.
Well, I'm looking online right now, and the first thing when I put Lego Venator on there, it pops up Republic Bricks, and they have their mock.
Yeah, so it's not that one.
Yeah, but I'm curious if somebody. I mean, there's several mocks out there. I'm wondering if somebody just put one of their mocks on that, just to tease a friend or something.
Yep.
And it just went viral, and everybody's saying, "Oh, it's coming out,"
It could be. I mean, we've kind of known that it was the. I say we've kind of known. I don't know that we've known. I think there's been rumors going around that it was going to be sometime in October. That they were going to do it.
The rumors sound like though they've been pretty. From the people that it came from, have been pretty credible in the past. I think is what. But the amazing thing is, and they've done this with a couple. They've been very hush hush on it. Like they have not, given us anything as far as that goes. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
So I'd be looking for something to come out. Maybe if it does come out, they'll push it to be in the news on their own terms relatively soon.
Right.
So keep an eye out for that, I guess. This is going to be too big.
Well, that goes. So we got two guns on this too, because they go into these little holes that you can like yank out. I like how they do that sort of thing. Like make it interesting.
Too big. Can't be that big. What has two guns?
The top of it has these two little guns that you can actually pull out. They're like little holes that are there, and all right. So releases October 1st. We've got the Viking Village.
Yep.
I cannot wait for that. I'm excited for that. It looks so cool. It's modular, and you can take the different buildings kind of apart and put them on top of each other and stuff. That is pretty cool.
There you go, Viking Village. Did that come out on the 1st?
October 1st.
Oh, October 1st.
Yeah, October 1st.
Yeah, that looks neat.
Yeah. What Vav has is neat too.
Yeah. This somebody said this the other day. It looks very How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes, and I think that was very much on purpose.
Right. What's the town called? Burke?
Burke. Yep.
Oh, we got somebody joining. Burke. It's Kodiak.
Hey,
welcome, Kodiak.
Howdy, howdy. Sorry, I had to get dinner going, but
don't apologize.
No worries.
I will apologize if I can. Well, please. How is everyone? Not to interrupt whatever conversation I dropped in on.
We were just talking about the Viking Village.
Viking Village. We talked about a leak of the UCS Venator sets that came out November or September 1st. All good stuff.
Classic. All good stuff.
All good stuff. We were talking about
I like
you.
these. I like the prints.
Yeah, the prints are good.
Neat.
Nice.
4 figures, $130. That's pretty good. Wow,
4
2,000
figures
pieces for $130.
Exactly. $130 for that many pieces. And yeah, sure, there's going to be some that are small. Like, look, you know how like one of my big things is the rock work on the on the Hogwarts thing, like that. Like it's the same idea. It's got just like epic looking rock work and everything.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of the wood tiles. There's going to be a lot of these cheese wedges to make the rock work. So yeah, some small pieces, but I think that's still pretty good for that. And it's modular, like you said. It looks like a lot of playable, fun stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine buying 2 of those and then like combining them and having like different, ways to build it and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hello, Josh. Josh is
what? Excuse me?
A lug friend
Yep.
in the chat.
Hi,
Well,
Josh.
howdy, welcome.
He's asking if I'm going to build a Voyager microfighter, and yes, I think at some point I might. The problem with building any microfighter is that I need a figure, so I need a Janeway figure.
Oh.
And that's where it all falls down. Minifigs, me. I think they do some really good custom minifigs.
They do, yes.
And the other one is Firestar Toys.
Oh, I've not heard of that one.
So I don't see a Janeway here, but the thing is, you have to say like Space Captain. I don't think they can actually call it.
Oh, right.
Jack the Time Traveler, right? Catherine.
Instead of Q, they call it P.
Yeah, Donna the Companion. I mean, they can't say Doctor Who.
Right.
I wonder if they could just do Voyager.
Probably not.
Nothing in there. So the other one was Firestar Toys. These are both UK companies. You could design her. Well, can you print it though? That's the thing.
Is it a 3D print thing?
No, I mean, all you need is like a UV print for the torso, and then, make up something with an existing piece of hair or something.
Right.
So you can't really put in Star Trek, but space. I don't know what. Janeway. It's not going to be with Janeway. What I just look. Anyway, this is another company that does like cool figures and stuff. So they also do this thing where you can get a whole set of the CMFs instead of buying like a giant box of them. You can just buy the whole collection.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think they do and I'm trying not to ruin this for everybody, but I think they do like an early code where you can get it ahead of time and stuff.
Nice.
Oh, you bought a UV printer. Well, okay. Everybody, Josh is going to design all our figures for us.
Thank you.
What a guy. Thanks for volunteering.
Right. You've been voluntold.
Hey, there's stuff coming from PA for you. So.
Catherine, Captain. Oh, I misspelled Catherine.
I'll take a Corvette, and
Yeah.
I know those UV printers are not cheap.
No. Corvette
So,
would take you a while.
This is. I mean, the suit is nice. That hair is not great. But the suit's cool. I wonder how they got that. And that's, yeah, you can just do all black and then do that thing on it. I like how they don't say how they printed it or anything. They just say, as played by Kate Mulgrew. Like, that's not the important part of this conversation. So yeah, so there's one of the falling down part of like I need a wharf, I need a Cisco, I'd need an archer. Like I want to do all the hero ships from all the shows.
Right.
As you do.
Let's see what I have here. Do I have my Microfighter Bible? You laugh.
Oh, I know what it is. I know how extensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw your display, and that was just incredible.
ship list. All right, so here's the ship list. In no particular order. So these are all just Star Wars ships. Then Star Trek. Yeah, so Enterprise D, we need a Picard. I want the Defiant with Worf, Bird of Prey with a Klingon, and Dorian. So we get General Shran, Warbird, a Cube, Voyager, NX1, NX01, DS9, which I think would be kind of goofy, but whatever. Discovery, Cerritos, a Ferengi. Oh, now I can add the. I can do another USS Enterprise.
We're still talking Star Wars, right?
What's that?
Supposedly.
I'm making fun.
Oh, okay. USS Titan.
Like I said, I would never get it wrong.
What was the dude's name on Titan before he died?
On Titan?
It was in Picard.
Oh, so I thought you were referring to the recent submarine.
Oh, no. It might be 7 of 9. I think they're going to change it to once the writer strike may be over, or the SAG strike and everything. I think they'll come back to that. But yeah, and then here's all the other non-Star Wars ships. I just got a thing. It was probably, it was an ad, but I don't remember what platform I saw it on. That Farscape is 25 years old.
Oh, that's right. I remember that from the 90s. Yeah.
And I was like, no. Like, I've rewatched Farscape many times. It's legitimately, next to Star Wars, my favorite show.
Sure.
But I'm like, so, trying to build Moya. But anyway, hitting me with, it's 25 years old. I'm like, shut up. It is not.
I am not that old.
You look it up, and it absolutely is.
Yep.
Babylon 5 is my go-to second.
Babylon 5 I've got in here too. What do I have here?
Like I think because a lot of the ships seem so nicely realistic. Yep, Star Fury would be great to do, a shadow vessel. Like all the ships are just cool.
Star Fury? What? It says done. I do not think I've done a Star Fury. That's the problem. I've done so many of these things that I'm like, no.
If you have, I am very curious to see it.
Well, so am I.
I don't remember. On one of your drunken binges.
Right, yeah. Friends don't let friends design in studio drunk. Star Fury.
That would be a good episode, though.
Right, yeah. We're all going to get tanked right before. I do. There you go. Star Fury.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
And that's Ivanova, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Susan Ivanova.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the best I could do with whatever torso was in.
Oh, yeah.
And then her helmet is secondary.
But see, now that you see that, you can be like, oh, I can improve it. I can go back. I can.
Yeah. Like, what can I do to make this better? And I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, not much. It's pretty.
No, it's actually pretty nice.
It's pretty tight. You've got the multi-controlled thrusters here.
See, that was one thing that I always loved about that series too, is the fact that like they took everything and they're like, these things have to make sense. The physics have to work, and they did.
In real space. Yeah, they did really well. It's like it's this, and then it's probably like Expanse, and then Babylon 5 in terms of like realism.
Yeah.
And then both of them went, oh well, we're also going to throw some weird shadow demon proto matter things in the mix, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah. But with the physics, you have to have those things that are like, wait, why are these things outside of like normal whatever?
Establish your ground game first, and then you can break all the rules you want.
That's right. Oh, I gotta do 4 of these.
Way too big. Way too big.
Sorry, we're keeping you from designing and building here.
Oh, I don't. This is, as long as some Lego is happening. You're building.
Oh, it is.
Bab's doing stuff. Kodiak's a bear.
Yep.
If you guys haven't checked it out, I'm going to pull it up. You need to go see Kodiak's newest.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
is it something other than Thomas the Scary Engine?
No.
It actually is a full animation I just released.
Oh, cool.
And,
Oh, Kodiak, did you see My Spider?
I didn't. I don't think so.
So it's in the Lego store in Ross Park Mall, which is in Pittsburgh, and it's a Mindstorms spider that has the sensor, so that like you put your hand up to it and the spider kind of jumps out at you.
Ooh.
And then it gets pulled back in, and then it kind of resets itself, waiting for the next person to come do it.
Nice little Lego Halloween decoration.
Exactly. Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, September and October. Should be on my Instagram.
I will do the thing where I check it out.
This is a cool ship. I love Blacktron. They're so cool. Someday I'll put my base back together.
Someday my base will be back together.
Well, I'll have to take apart some of my miniature. I kind of want to keep the miniature one together, so I'll have to get some other pieces that I used up. Oh, you see it?
Yeah. I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun to put together, and it's all Lego. It's Mindstorms, and it's so cool.
That was his first lug challenge build.
Yeah. I was like, I woke up I woke up 3 weeks ago, and I said, I'm going to build a spider for this, and I did.
Fair enough.
That's the best, when you just wake up and decide, yeah, this is happening, and then it's so weird to like when you're doing mocks where you like you stress and you stress and you stress. You're like, I want to build this thing, but I want to do it right, and then one day you just hit the table and go, it's built now, and all that kind of goes out the door, and you're like, all I did was spend an hour and a half on it, and it's fine,
It's
See, and I know
it hurts for me.
Yeah,
What's that?
and I know it's not typical. I know it's not typical of builds. Like it's probably not going to happen that way very often, but like I'll take it.
Yeah. So my oldest was like, they were texting me all night about Unbreakable and Glass and all that stuff, and then they just wrote, have you seen Cabin in the Woods? And I was like, yeah, also good. And they're like, is it too scary to watch at night? I'm like, no, it's a black comedy.
Also completely cheesy.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't seen, I'm going to say also Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Oh, I haven't seen that one actually.
Oh my God, that's good.
I do need to see it. Yes.
Tucker and Dale versus. We were gonna go to a horror trivia last night, but it was canceled at the last minute. And I was like, Beth, they've got a trivia specifically for you. She loves horror movies, and we're driving down there, and she's like, "Now, I don't want you to think that I'm really gonna own this thing. I feel like you put too much faith in me on this." And I'm like, "Why? You love horror movies?" She's like, "Yeah, but I haven't seen like some of the newer ones, and I don't remember a lot of the old ones, and there was it's like a decade where I didn't watch, a decade of them that I didn't see." And I was like,
blah, blah,
"You
blah.
know more than I do, so this is your time to shine."
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. So we're trying to come up with team names, and there's a really crappy highway here in Austin called I-35, and I was like, Tucker and Dale versus I-35, stuff like that.
Nice.
But
That's great.
we were gonna be Texas Chainsaw Legislature was gonna be our team name.
That's great.
I like that.
Oh, no.
What was the other ones? It was like Nightmare on Pecan Street. There's a big road here.
Nice.
Pecan Street.
Well, the old street was Pecan Street. It's now 6th Street. So if you ever come to Austin, everyone says go to 6th Street. 6th Street is the bar street. It's the French Quarter, basically.
Oh, they just want you to go to the bar street.
They just want you to go there. They're like, you should go to 6th Street. It's like, no, you should, unless you're a 23-year-old girl in a bachelorette party, you do not go to 6th Street.
So it's done. Blacktron Cruiser is done.
Nice.
There it is. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Get that up here.
Came out really nice. I really like how it looks. Definitely different than the original, but close enough. I mean, like very, very close.
So
I
now
think,
you
like,
need to do
these
the
things are
base. You need to do the base and like augment it like this was done, where you like tweak it a little bit and
Yeah, I know.
modernize it.
I like how I love that they kept the sectionizing, taking these things apart. There you go.
Matt, we used to go to Pluckers Trivia also here in Austin. We would do every Wednesday night, and they had this great for a long time, like since like 2009. And they had this great host who was also like he was in a band, and he was like a DJ on a radio station, and he was kind of had a big personality, and he would drink through the whole game. And by the end of it, he was dancing on tables and stuff, and he'd wear
That's
Heelys
awesome.
as an adult, if that gives you an indication.
Really like all the movement on this thing, because like those all move.
Red wings though just hit. They're so cool.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
The original has these as the actual just trans.
As the actual
wings. They're
pieces,
not-
yeah. I'm really kind of that was one thing a lot of us were like, man, they should have brought those back as just the wings.
Yep. And I have a bunch of them, so I could always change it. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm liking this. Really, really cool set.
Too big. All right, so that's too big. So let's put baby in the corner.
And of course, our classic Blacktron. The robot's a little weird. I don't like the design of him. I would like the more classic. Like they got this weird, like he's got a torso. He can like go back and forth. It's kind of weird.
That is weird.
I don't like it. I wish they had done the more classic one.
We would
And,
go
like,
to the one. I didn't realize that you were in Austin. That's fairly cool. I apologize if you're actually somebody I know and you come to like lug meetings and I don't know who you are. I'm really sorry. No, we would do the one on 183 and burn it. The I guess central northish one. For a very, very long time. And then we ended up going to we did another one. The good thing about the Pluckers Trivia, and this was before like Geeks Who Drink got really, really huge. The Pluckers Trivia, you could have like 10, 12 people on your team. So we would just fill up a table. And invariably there's somebody there who's good with like 90s hip hop, and somebody good with sports, and somebody who can do math. And somebody who's good at movies, and the only reason I was there was in case they occasionally asked something about a kids movie, because I was the only one with kids, or 70s rock, because I was the oldest one who listened to actual 70s rock.
There you go.
We had a
Main
guy.
Street Charlie Mock. Yes. Hi, Matt. Matt's new to our group. He had a fantastic. I think I took a picture of it. Let's look at his mock, shall we?
Cool.
Yeah, so I do apologize. He is new, but he has a great with a track inset and everything. That was really neat. Let's pull that up. Yeah, I'm getting absolutely no designing done.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's fine.
Whoa, that was a great face of you.
What?
You scrolled out a little bit.
Oh, that one? I was taking pictures of me with my new bifocals for Facebook. I was just like, hey, everybody.
Pouty face.
What's that?
It looks like a pouty face. Like you didn't get your Lego that day.
These.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting rid of some stuff because I did a TikTok earlier. I was getting rid of some of that. Yeah, this is like, any her. Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
Oh, Frankie's giving us Big Kid Bricks. Yeah, I forgot about Big Kid Bricks.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no pictures in here that I can't show. Wait a minute. Where did it all go? Oh, I know. It is in my Google Drive. Derp.
Now there's where you got to be careful of pictures you don't want to show.
Oh yeah, Google Drive, man. All right, so it was I put everybody's picture in here. Did not upload it. Well, that stinks. What happened?
Oh no.
This isn't even half of what.
Did it get put into a different folder?
Well, it would have been like I moved them. That's the thing. I
I see.
moved them from here, and these are all old. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the move must not have taken.
Network switch.
Where? Oh yeah,
network switches. Yeah,
I was trying to send pictures to. We were trying to shop for these things, these patch cables, and our managed service provider is like, we don't know what those patch cables are. And we're like, you sold them to us, and they're like, yeah, but that was like 8 years ago. Like, oh, come on. Okay, so here was.
USB cables now.
What's that?
We got these new and approved USB cables now.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
These
look
things,
at that.
I'm
Saturn
sure each one of those cables is like $100. So here's the big thing, and this is motorized. The arms are all motorized. The elevator is motorized. It was pretty rad. Oh, and here's the trolley car. So this was really cool because it actually goes back and forth. It's not Mill's plate, but he had to build it up because the track was set into the street.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that was really rad. And he did this. He worked at Disney. Is that right, Matt? Bricklink orders didn't come in time. That's right. Yeah.
He worked at Giznip, as I thought it was how it was spelled for many, many years.
Disney. Giznip.
Giznip.
So yeah, that was really cool. That was a very cool one. So welcome, Matt. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate that you dropping by. I'm surprised I didn't take a picture of that big old thing that he brought to attach this to. See some other.
Matt said correct.
Correct. I take pictures of Star Trek quotes that I find hilarious. The Irish unification of 2024. I'm like, guys,
we got one more
made
year.
it. We've almost made it to Irish Unification Day.
I love when stuff like that comes up, just because it's like, hey, it's like everything from like Back to the Future for 2015. It's like, well,
yeah. This is one of my favorites. He says, "Sir, I protest. I am not a merry man." If it'll play.
Yeah, that would be a worse thing to say.
It's so good.
And I love the costumes too. Look how cheesy.
This one's funny because it's Famke Janssen saying a mutant in Star Trek. Famously, Jean Grey saying a mutant.
Jean Grey, yep.
I just have lots of pictures of my freaking dog. Oh, these are all trash. That's why I don't have them in there anymore. Okay, cool. So I'm going to have to go back through it before these become untrashed because I only have like a month, and then replace. I'll do this later when I'm not streaming, but so yeah, so that was very cool. We generally get a lot of really fun mocks.
Yeah, our meeting this past quarter was, I judged it because I didn't make one because I was working on the Spider, but it was a custom car show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had a couple of people. We had one guy that brought Logan brought. He's been in my streams. In Vab streams, he's one of our lug guys, obviously, and he does Transformers, like micro Transformers and stuff. Neat. So he had just finished Beachcomber, so he's like, "Oh, I got to bring that." So that was his custom car, and we had one guy that had like 5 or 6 cars. They were all kind of like an alien type thing. He had a whole story for it and everything. That was really neat. Then then one guy who's big into fire trucks and stuff. He did some of the, and I gave him second place for this because it was like a military truck and an old timey style fire truck, and at the car cruise down the hill from me, that's like kind of the start of the cruise season. I always see someone in a big giant military truck that's cruising down the road, and then there's some of these other big giant ones and stuff. And it's like, those are just neat.
Speaking of, I'm gonna pimp this guy's channel because he's not in our lug, but he's like 20 minutes away from me, and I don't know why he doesn't ever come to our meetings.
So
he does very small Transformers too, like really small.
Yeah.
Where's Rat Trap? Look at how big Rat Trap is.
Oh my word, he does like really tiny ones. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
and like the transformation is like you stand him up on this thing and then you turn the head around. That's the
Well, yeah,
transformation. It's so
there's
great.
not
Like
much, but that's neat.
he was at 2019 Brick Rodeo, or like I think it was like the last Brick Fiesta. And I saw his table, and like he had some bigger ones too, set up. But I was like, "Are these all Transformers?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You are my new favorite person." Because he had like some bigger ones and stuff, but like these little bitty ones were so great.
That's so neat.
Yeah, so look him up, Synthetic Mason, which I think is
Okay.
a great name for a Lego person.
Yeah, Logan's stuff is so good. He's very, very cool, and like he's working on doing some like he wants every Vab and I had to help him because he got so hung up on like, well, I want to do these Transformers, but I want them to transform how they do in like the cartoon versus the toy, but like I'm not sure the ratio of this guy is different in this season than that, and we're like you got to find your ratio, you got to find your perspective, stick to it, and then you'll be fine.
That's so hard to do.
Yeah,
especially
he had to wrap his head around it.
Yeah. And you can't, like, Transformers already have like that mass shifting, whatever it is, where it's like, no, it's only a boombox this big, not a giant robot.
Well, I had to show him what we were talking about, because I brought up actually I can bring it up here. Just give me a second to find it. But you create one thing to whatever scale that you do, and then you base everything off of that scale.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to explain what scale is and how to apply it.
Yeah, that's a trick when you're trying to recreate stuff from screen too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've run into a lot of that doing these Horizon machines, because I'm also building to scale based off of Lego's version, but also like another builder's version versus what the video game actually is. So it's like, it's that same thing. You got to find your scale. Darth Designer does it. Kodiak's aware of this, where he's like, one stud is a meter in this scale that I'm working on, and he sticks to it. Or one stud is a foot in this scale, and he sticks to it, depending on how big the ship he wants to do and what scale. But like, if he says it's going to be 172 scale, it's going to be 172 scale, and he is very rigid about that. But that works for him, he makes it work.
And this was the photo that I showed him, because all the front ones, all these front ones are 1 to 110 scale, which is the Saturn V kit. And everything in the back is the 1 to 70 scale, which is based on the Discovery Hubble kit that came out. So, and that's what I was using as a pin, is kind of showing him, this is how you do scale. You do one model, and then you scale everything to that model.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Like, you couldn't have like the rocket to the right of the Discovery be like, oh yeah, well the smaller one works. It's like, well, no, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's an art to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but I mean, it's definitely something you got to work on.
Well, yeah, the hardest part is wrapping your brain around it. Once you do that, once you're able to, and you see and you realize how it works, then you're like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I would think the scale for your thing, though, because a lot of it, like, for instance, like the one you did last week, the one that's like was on 2 legs or whatever.
It's a long leg.
That?
Oh, right.
Yeah, like you still sort of have to have it in mind to do it to minifigure scale too, because you want him, you want her in there too. So it's kind of like a combination almost.
I'm trying to, and that's the problem, is I'm trying to do the thing that's screwing me up on most of these is the Lego set, the official set.
Right.
The official set is so small compared to what, like, if this right here, these two, this thing and her are a pretty good scale. Like I know that
Yeah.
her head goes up to like that joint of the thing. Hachiroku's design over here is pretty good as well. Like she should kind of fit underneath its head. And she kind of does. So frustrating with the way this moves.
Yeah.
And it kind of does, right? She still fits under this, and this is a huge thing. But the tall neck needs to be like a third taller than it really is, the official set. So, I mean, there's a, like, if you're looking, this is, I always pull this up, but if you're looking at the size chart here, and this is the only thing that I have to go off of because there's no official size. And then if you look at,
well, you can just see it right there. How much taller than everything else it is. Then the next tallest thing. It's at least double, height wise.
So here's this may screw up the stream a little bit. I don't know. So I'm trying to recreate this with all the ones that I get done. I don't know why it's taken. Oh, good news, everybody! I'm buying a video card.
Yay!
Yay!
I want to play Starfield. That's my excuse. So yeah. So if you look at this, you can see like how tall this thing is.
It's 3 times bigger than that big thing. Yeah.
Easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then like maybe twice as tall here. So yeah, this thing, and it's way off in the background too. And I know from the game, like you can't. Kodiak says he's stepped away. He'll be back momentarily. You can't just climb up this thing from its legs. You have to get up to a height of something like a big hill or a ruin or a building of some kind and jump onto one of these things that's sticking out of its neck.
Oh,
because it's so you basically gonna come up to like the middle of its shin, but in like the set, you're almost as tall as its whole first section of its leg. So I get they couldn't have made it probably much bigger, or else I bet they probably focus grouped it and were like, would you buy this if it were this many pieces? Would you buy this if it were $300 instead of $200 or $150 or whatever it ended up being?
Well,
and I'm
they
sure
were
a lot of
probably,
people were like, I don't even know what that is. I wouldn't buy that for $250,
I bet you since they were kind of doing a one-off, you know what I mean? Like
they're probably like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can make it whatever size we want because hey, everyone has to go after the ratio of that.
Well, and it also includes, so the set also includes these little guys, right? And these are pretty good scale-wise to her, because they're supposed to be only about as big, and this is going to screw everything up.
Everything is broken.
Yeah. Everything is loaded really slow. Everything is broken. But yeah, scale is funny when you're doing it. And it's also like the people aren't the right scale anyway. Minifigures aren't people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of
so
just
this
like
actually is supposed to be a little smaller than her. These guys.
I kind of dislike whenever people are like, "Oh, but Lego people aren't people." It's like, yeah, but this is the representation. That's
this is
like
what we have to go off of.
Yeah, this is the world. This is the universe. It's the Lego.
Let's go ahead and save that because it's got her in it now. Okay. Save. Go back. Which is why I was running into this, where I had this great idea for the legs and everything, and then I was like, well, it's only slightly bigger than this guy, but then I was like, oh, it's almost as big as this giant thing that it should be. Now it's like, well, now I got to go back and rework it so it's pretty much the same size as this, which I don't know how to
even though it looks, see, and that's where Logan was running into. He's like, oh, this works so good, now I have to adjust everything else to that, and it's like, no, you gotta pick and stick.
What's important to you? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
What works for you?
Yep.
If I lower these, maybe be as big.
Oh, I like that.
What's that?
I like how the bend goes in there and everything. It looks really nice.
Hopefully it works too. I mean, that's the thing about this guy. I don't need this anymore. He's supposed to be a rhino. This is a rhino analog, and rhinos notoriously, from footage that I've watched, their legs don't bend a whole lot. Like they kind of run with momentum and inertia.
They probably kind of like skip along.
Yeah, and they kind of like put up. You don't see the same sort of horse legs come together kind of thing. They just kind of
right.
So just making their legs just kind of need to kind of be straight.
Right.
Plus, I don't. The funny thing is, this is all for a display where no one could actually do anything with it. But if I put these on Rebrickable, I want to make them sort of anatomically right so their legs can move.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would just build them to be stiff and straight, and it doesn't matter.
You mean like a Chewbacca set we never talk about?
Yeah, we never talk about the.
We don't talk about Chewbacca. Yeah.
Did I not send this? Oh, there we go. For whatever reason, there we go.
Oh, there. Yeah.
I thought I sent it, but I guess I didn't. So that's what's going on. Are you building anything? Are you gonna do the?
No, because it's time for me. I need to go pack my clothes and then get to bed since I got to get up at like 5:30 tomorrow morning.
Why don't you take the heck off then, eh?
I am going to do that. So yeah,
Okay.
I will be. I'm taking our little mini iPad, so I will be doing some walk around stuff tomorrow after we get. I may actually have it, kind of set up a little bit as we're doing some of the build of the mock and getting it all set up and everything, just so people can see. So we'll do that. Definitely going to walk around and see all the other lugs that are around. And at night, like after the things are all closed, like the public is gone, like we're doing some things between all the lugs. Like we're doing like they're doing a dirty brickster where it's like you're given a whole bunch of parts and you just make something from it. I'm participating in the blind build, which is it's the Lego City police car, and you can't see it, you just have to build it.
You have like a box in front of you where you can't see what you're doing.
Yep. Yeah. So we're gonna do some fun. So I'm probably gonna try to stream some of that stuff, and we'll see.
This
will be
great.
Fun. Yeah, I can't
Sounds
wait.
Like fun. Most con stuff, once you like actually go to some of these, it's like, oh yeah, we do this too. That's very cool. We'll keep an eye on your channel and watch stuff then tomorrow.
Yep, I'll try to post things, or at least inform and be like, hey, in a half hour or something. But I don't know how much time I'll have leeway, because it's just going to be a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go get some rest. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Have a safe trip, Johnny.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Night.
Night.
All right, now that he's gone. Oh wait. Now the real fun can start.
Welcome to the after party.
Mm-hmm. The party's over. The after party is gonna start right now. So now I'm frustrated because I just need to come down like half a stud. I don't know where I'm gonna get that half a stud from.
That's always a tricky one.
That issue so many times.
What's that?
I've run into that issue so many times where it's just like half a stud.
I think what I can probably do is attach its leg just up higher and have more of its body below where its joint is. That's the only thing I can think of. What's your next big project, Kodiak? What are you working on next?
So
Now that your animation is done.
Yeah, so that that shorter animation is done. I'm back to mainly working on the big long one. So that's going to be a treat. Outside of that, I did get a like RC thing from, or not an RC. I got it's like 42039 is the set.
Okay.
But it's like a Technic 24-hour Le Mans like race car.
Wow.
And I got I got kind of a wild hair up my nose and decided to see what the process would look like to RCify it.
Oh my goodness.
And so while I was getting dinner prepped and everything, just kind of monkeying around with it, I actually managed to get the steering column working. But now I have to figure out how to get the motor to talk.
Okay.
Or not talk necessarily, but connect it so that it actually starts doing the thing.
Right.
So that's my next big physical project. All the other projects are kind of not secret necessarily, but I don't want to share too many details in case they end up not going anywhere.
Right.
I don't want to get people excited for something that may not end up happening.
Fair enough. Ooh, 1x3 round. Throw these guys in here. One by 3 round plates, y'all.
As you do.
Anytime I know that there's a new piece to be had, I'm like, yes, please put that in there. Are you doing any new stuff for Darth?
Yeah, he just sent me what was it? The updated Huey. And he's got another tank that I won't spoil. But
Cool.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm probably gonna get started on the instructions on that. We shall see.
Nice. He doesn't stream a whole lot anymore.
No, it turns out his pizzeria has been pretty busy.
He doesn't own it, does he? He just works there.
Yeah, he just works there, but even then, it's my understanding that he just does not have the sort of free time that he used to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he and I have actually been chatting about streaming schedules because I similarly have been so busy that I haven't been able to stream anything.
Yeah.
I've been able to join here and join my other friends for streams, but
right, but you know, you can always kind of bounce when this is done, or like
yeah,
you don't have to kind of hang out the whole time.
The other thing that has definitely weighed on this is Boyo has to get out the door for school at like 7:20.
Yeah.
Give or take. Because I've offered to cook breakfast and get like lunches and stuff like that ready, I'm up at like 6:30, 6:45 every morning. So that has had a pretty hefty weight on how late my nights end up being.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can tell that my my friends are getting to a point where late nights and faraway locations are starting to be not something they want to do. We were doing the the trivia that we were gonna do that got canceled.
Yeah.
And I had texted all of my friends, or all of our friends who I knew who were into horror, and I was like, "Hey, we're going to this place, whatever. It's in this location." And they're like, "Oh," and one of our friends was like, "Oh, I'm going to be up north until Monday." And so north meaning like we're in Austin, and north of Austin are two cities called Round Rock and Pflugerville. Farther northwest is Cedar Park, and then south is just South Austin, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
And the place was in South Austin, and one of our friends was like, "Oh, I'm north until Monday," and I was like, "North like Dallas?" Because if you're in like Round Rock, there's no excuse because I'm north too, and we're going.
Right.
Like, I'm north till I move. What's your excuse? So I was kind of flip about it, but I didn't know what he meant by that. And Beth later was like, he may have meant that that it's funny that we were asking him to go. He used to live way down where we were going, and now that he isn't, now we ask him to go down south. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, he could have said, "That's funny because I used to live down there," versus, "Oh, I'm up north till Monday." And I'm like, what does that even mean? Yeah. And then another one was like, "Oh, I don't know if we can sit on a patio. It's been really hot here, so sitting on patios is not great." And then somebody else said, "I may get all the movies mixed up," and we're like, that's the kind of the point of the trivia is we don't know, we may not know. So like, just say you don't want to go. Like, I'm at the age now where I'm just like, just say you don't want to go. Don't give me a weird excuse.
Yeah, I'm like that with a lot of my friends too these days, where I just don't have time for the fucking pageantry.
Yeah.
I'm just like, look, if you can't make it or can't do something, just tell me like outright.
Yeah.
Make my life easier, make your life easier. Like I'm too old for my feelings to be hurt.
Right. Yeah, I feel like Data now. I'm like, you can't hurt my feelings. Yeah, it is. Missy is absolutely called that.
Yeah. I don't tend to surround myself with people who sort of intentionally like try to upset me. but I absolutely live by the mindset of if anybody's going to or like going to try, I don't want to give them the satisfaction.
Yeah. And for the most part, like, I don't have a whole lot of flaky friends, so that's not usually a problem.
Sure.
Just this one time I'm like, come on, guys. And, you know, it didn't matter because it was all canceled anyway, so.
Right.
Just can't make this look the way I want it to. What's next for the Lego world? So we've got September releases that have already come and gone. October releases coming up. Some of which we may or may not know about, apparently. Oh, that's pretty cool. Has everybody got their advent calendars? I think that's a big thing. If you are an advent calendar person.
Not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, that was a resounding yes. I usually get the Star Wars one, hoping to get like a like a neat ugly sweater torso or something, usually. Doesn't look great this year, like some of it's kind of like meh. But
yeah.
All right, that looks okay. Do that. Change some of that up. Uh-oh. I hear the TV go off. Is someone going to bed in there?
Uh-oh.
You going to bed? Oh. I thought maybe you were hyper aware of your impending 5 a.m. wake-up call tomorrow. Trying to make myself sleepy. So Beth starts her new shifts tomorrow. They are 12-hour shifts, 7 to 7, for 3 days.
Yeah.
So that starts tomorrow, and she's like, "Yeah, I think I'll probably start getting up at 5:30." I'm like, "If you wake me up at 5:30 on a Saturday, I'm gonna punch you in the dick." And she's like, "I don't have one." I'm like, "I'm gonna punch you so hard you grow one, and then I'm gonna punch that."
In the spiritual dick, it
Right.
has much less to do with the
Spiritual
physical.
dick has got to be a ska band name somewhere.
If not, I'll get right on it.
There you go. Holiday Ewok is why I'm getting it. Yeah, it's the white Ewok with the green to do. All right, let's just join this all together and be done with it. So Matt's a young dude. He has newly joined our Lego group. I'm hoping this experience doesn't turn him off to the rest of the lug.
One can always hope.
What's that?
One can always hope.
Right, yeah. So, also the way I just said that sounded like airplane. You like gladiator movies? You ever seen a grown man naked?
Every day in the mirror.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. It is not a pretty sight. You don't want to see it. So Matt, are you familiar with and have you worked with Studio? Your designs seem pretty solid. Just curious about your background with the digital designing and stuff. What am I looking for here? I don't know. And how did you... Yeah. Looks like I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
What type?
The good
Gotta be
type.
classic. Gotta go with the Elmer's school glue.
Whatever
crackle.
kind... Wherever kind requires me to mix it with something else.
Oh, epoxy.
I need a good epoxy.
There you go.
That looks pretty good there. That looks like a good middle connection there. I have worked with it, but I'm not good at it. Well,
There's one way to get better. And that's
I was going to say, got to get into it somehow. This is all I really... I mean, I do build on my own without it occasionally. But usually, like you'll see Saturday what I've done without Studio, because it'll be at the meeting. And that's what we were talking about earlier, where you just like roll up to your table and you're like, I just have to build, and then we'll see what happens. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes you're like, yep, now I'm going to tear it all down.
Fair enough.
That was awful.
Ooh, lots of AutoCAD. Good stuff.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, if you're doing like CAD stuff, this is going to be like, you know, actual driving versus getting into a go-kart. Why won't this whole thing? The only thing that's really hard about Studio, honestly, is, other than this nut, why would you do that? Why? Other than the fact that they keep updating it and breaking it. Is knowing where all the pieces are and what they're called. I've spent entirely too much time, especially some random piece that I haven't seen in a while. I know what it looks like. I know what maybe my childhood name was for it, but it is probably something, it's probably like some form of modified plate or modified tile.
Sure.
And I just can't find it. So I end up like, well, I know it's in this one set, so you have to go look at the set in Bricklink and then look through the inventory and then find it and go, oh, that's right. And then again, not remember it in, a couple months when you're trying to work on it again. I haven't felt how to build anything at an angle. So angles are tough. Let's work on angles real quick. So let's say you wanted to turn a plate a certain degree, right? You got your plate. Highlight this real quick. Bab knows about angles. He works really well with angles.
I hate angles. I have lost air because of angles.
So he and I both know that there's like a limit to what you can do in the software with angles, because Lego only makes certain things that will work at certain angles. Unless you're working with ball joints will do anything, but you have to be able to get them to line up, and sometimes the software doesn't snap when you're working with angles, so you just have to kind of go, yeah, I know that works, just I'm going to put it here and forget about it, right?
Actually, I noticed that this is a bug in Studio now, that when you work with Technic, it will not, the axles will not go in correctly. They keep turning.
I've noticed that too. It keeps rotating to like a weird angle.
Yeah.
There used to be, the way I was able to fix that a while ago, and this was years ago, like I would have a wheel with an axle and it wouldn't go in. But then if I turned the wheel and went like this, it went in fine, and then I could pick the whole thing up and move it.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, it wouldn't line up. And now it's doing that same thing where it just doesn't line up.
Yeah, I've tried it in different angles, and it just would not go in. I actually had to go back, select the new, go into the parts bin, select a new piece, and then put it in there. But then both of them had to be new pieces, so then they would line up fine. But if you copy and paste the same piece, that's when you start getting the twisting effect and everything.
Yeah, you get it's like a hinge drift or something. It's skewed at a different angle. I usually have to, like, if it gets put at a funny angle, like I'll try to put it over here and it does this, like it just tries to attach. And then if you leave it, it's stuck with that angle. I'll get another piece out here and I'll just put it on top of that, and it resets it, and then I can do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that works, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't. So hinging or angling stuff is pretty easy in general. Turning it with your arrow keys, right? You can rotate it that way. You can rotate it up and down. Keys will rotate that axis. If you wanted to hinge it, let's say, or I could say hinge it, but if you wanted it to like turn it at an angle that's not just 90 degrees, if you hit H, it'll give you this with the part selected, right? V is your regular select tool. If you hit H, that's hinge, and then select it, it'll give you these rotational arrows. And again, it'll give you basically like yaw, roll, and pitch, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And you can twist and turn it however you want. If you click on it, it gives you the control to kind of do whatever you want with it. Yeah. You can also type in if you know the angle you want.
You can also do shift. I believe it's shift directional key.
Shift in the arrow keys.
Yeah, shift in the arrow key.
When you're in a dial, you can do that as well.
So if you just highlight it and do shift directional key, it turns it at least, it's just 45 degrees, but it's,
Yeah, but when you go into the dial, you press shift and the up and down directional key, you can do it at 5 degree increments.
You click that. Yeah, there you go. So if you don't want to type it in, you can control it this way. That's one way to do it. Or that's another way to do it. So those are ways to get just an individual piece to move. Most hinges will have the option to hinge. If they are a hinge connection, you hit H, right? It should So this is attached to everything. It should hinge everything that it's attached to. So now you can do the same thing where you can rotate based off that. Not always, and you have to be careful because sometimes there will be a connection that like maybe you added to this later where that's not part of that group that gets hinged with it. And that's kind of what Vab was talking about too, is you have to kind of like delete that part, re-add it so it becomes part of that group. Unless you grouped it all together, you made it a sub model, and it should all be in there too, but it should still rotate differently, or it should still rotate if you want it to. Not move for no reason. One of the hardest things that I think we've all run, Vab and I think we've, and probably Kodiak too, doing instructions and stuff, is just like we had talked about earlier, knowing that it works in real life but can't get it to do it in the software. A lot of times it's frustrating to see this sort of like cleared out area where you know, like I know this connection is invalid, but let's say I thought it was and I've done it in real life. If this is distracting, you can always turn collision off so you don't see that. So you can go, no, I know that connection's good. I just don't want to see it being wireframe while I'm working on it. So you can turn collision off. You can also turn snap off sometimes. I wouldn't really recommend it, but
I almost never work with collision. I make stuff collide for videos all the time.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like if you're doing, it depends on what you're designing for. Kodiak's doing a lot of animation, so he will like make stuff that like your Geonosis towers. I noticed some of those were like pieces that looked cool, but I noticed they're probably buried in something else. But the top part of that piece looks great, right? So you just shove it under another piece and it clips it. So you don't see the bottom part of it, but the cool part is up top, right?
Yep.
So doing a lot of that, shoving laser bolts into things, you know.
Yeah, I will say as far as like the desert base for Geonosis, I did what I could to actually like make it work, or make it like legal connections, so to say. There were definitely some of those where Rule of Cool won out.
That was really fun though, and so I'm watching this video, and I was like, oh cool, it's gonna be a droid battle with and it had all the Battlefront 2 effects, and sounds and guys dying and stuff, and I could hear all the clones. Watch those wrist rockets, you know, all that stuff, and like added machine gun effects and your speech and recorded clone lines and stuff. Yeah, and I was just having so much fun, and after a while, I'm like, fuck, this is going on forever. And then right as I thought that it changed, I'm like, oh, okay, that was really well done. Because I'm like, okay,
I must have gave up a lot sooner, because when I was watching it and I was just like, this is going on forever. This battle scene is forever.
I'm used to seeing like it. What it felt like was a Monty Python skit. Where they push it to be entirely too long, and then you notice it, and then you get tired of it, and then it starts becoming funny because it's been going on for so long. And then I was like, okay, now the funny's over. And then it clicked over to the guy in the truck and everything, and I was like, all right, this is really rad. Yeah. And then the whole A10 showing up. Oh my god, that was great. Closer.
And then it was flapping its wings on. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Flying away like that.
Thank you. I was so worried that no one was like going to notice that or pay attention to that.
Oh my god! And then it just like the weird thing was it was like that, and then it was done. That was it. It was just like what, you know?
Yeah.
So that bit reminded me of there was a gender reveal party, which they're dumb. Just don't ever do it. Recently, this happened just like a week ago or within the last week, and it was somewhere in Mexico, and somebody had a crop duster fly over, and they were going to drop a cloud of whatever color it was, and then like there was a big glitter explosion on the thing and whatever. They were videotaping it, and the plane flew over, and they followed the plane, and the guy like pulled up real hard, and the wing came off the plane.
Sounds about
And
right.
they followed it for a half second and then came back to the couple, and everyone's cheering. And all the comments in the video are like, did nobody see that dude just die? Like his plane just fell apart, and it turned out he died. Like it crashed, and they had to pull his body. And I'm just like, what the? Just don't do gender reveal parties anymore. Or also make sure your plane is up to spec. Come on. But that was terrible. But that reminded me, because it looked the same, like the wings just going like this.
Just folding, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I have to snap off. Oh, have to have snap off in order to get any angles, but then everything gets so off because snap isn't on. Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what he might be meaning. Because like if you do it with hinges, let me get a untitled model here. If you do it with the unhinged, let me grab this hinge because there we go. Because in studio you have two different types of the hinges. You got the undetermined type where you can actually just hurry up and move it. But when you go to buy these pieces, they will literally be that piece and that piece. So what you do is you want to get the hinge plate that's solid, but you can go in here, right click on left, just select it, go to your title, and then you can go, it'll take you into like a sub model, and you can do the same thing and just adjust it to where you need to go. I think that's what he's meaning.
Yeah. And lining up, like I had a lot of those. I've worked with a lot of those where, and you probably have too, where you want to make a circle of those, or you want to make a panel of those, like all the way around, where you're like, well, I know that if I built this in real life, I could make it work with 20 of these hinge plates. And I know that it'll make a 20-sided circle or a 20-sided shape.
Yeah. Actually, if
get it to do it in software, it's like, well, what angle do I do? And yeah, that's frustrating.
I actually did it on my live stream. I think it was like episode 1 or 2. I actually got into doing how to do the math behind getting the angles and everything.
Cool.
With trying to do with these hinge plates, trying to get the different sides and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much stuff I have to monkey with, both in my genuine builds, as well as stuff that I'm doing for animation.
Yeah. And
if I've learned anything animating in studio, or like getting it to do this right, studio is not your friend. It does not like you. It will not return your calls.
Yeah. It also is like, I feel like the developers, and I'm not a developer, so I don't know, but I feel like the developers are making more problems by trying to introduce new things. And I feel like rather than, and I know they're fixing stuff too, and there's just so many moving parts, right. But I feel like a lot of times they're introducing a lot, like the newest selection problem I'm having, where if I select a bunch of stuff and then I want to move all that stuff, and it's like I've selected everything and I want to move it by selecting the last thing I've moved.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. And it ends up doing a giant bounding box around everything. And it didn't used to do that. So I'm like trying to get used to like select, go back to the first thing I select to move everything, so I don't end up losing all the things that I've selected. And that's like, that was the most recent, maybe 2 version updates ago, but at least last month or so.
Yeah.
And it's just little tweaks like that where you have to get used to doing something new again, versus why don't you just make it so I can put an axle in that wheel? You know, what's so hard about the axle and the wheel? So
plenty, it unfortunately seems, at least when it comes to this.
Did I lose my camera? Oh,
I was going to ask you, what did you like mute yourself on the camera or something?
Uh-oh.
B? There it is.
There you go.
It's so, yeah. if I'm on Studio, V is the cursor, but if I'm over on the web page, it turns the camera on. So, little trick right there. Yeah, I can't figure it out in real life and make things work in Studio. That's kind of, and I hate to say it's just practice, but it really is kind of just practice.
Yep.
It's figuring out what are the software limitations versus most things can be done in the software. Most things can be done the way you want them to be. It's just a matter of, it almost is like, how can I make this primitive thing do the thing I want? And you have to kind of figure out how to do it dumbly. But it's pretty intuitive. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I like it a lot. I don't think it's that hard to learn. And I think it gets the job done for the most part. And like, if you can do animation in it, like Kodiak's doing, or giant projects like Bab's done, I think it's totally worthwhile. It's a sight better than like Lego Digital Designer was.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like night and day to get when you compare it to LDD.
Yeah. I like MCAD, or not MCAD, MDraw and LDraw, or was it MDraw? There was LDraw and
I believe it was MDraw.
it was MDraw. Yeah, one of them. LDraw was fairly good. I'm trying to remember which one. One of them had like a better database of bricks, but one of them had better controls. But the one that had a better database of bricks, I think, was LDraw. I can't remember.
Well, that's what Studio uses, is all the LDraw.
Right. Yeah. But whatever one had, there was a bunch of functionality in one of them that Studio didn't have, that I would have to open up the other one, do the work in that, save it, export it, pull it back in, and just for like sub assemblies of stuff. Be like, well, save this as a sub assembly, as a new project, move it over this way because this one's got better control, put it back into Studio. It was so frustrating. But they incorporated a lot of that in later versions, so it's nice now.
I will say my biggest gripe at the moment, and it's a small thing, and I acknowledge that it's a small thing, but you know, when you've selected a piece in like the builder, right, and you hit T for transmute or whatever acronym they wanted to use, it pulls up grid coordinates, right? Part of my problem is when you are in the render window, there is no way to set the coordinates for the camera.
Okay.
And so my issue is
before it starts rendering. So like if we're doing this, you pulled it up, there's no way to like set it here.
No, so like you can use your mouse like you're doing right now to set the camera angle, but
for
no
what
matter
you're
which
using, you can't do
menus,
that every time because it may throw it off just a bit.
And because this whole thing is based purely on the quote unquote size of your build, I have to like put down a 1x1 plate.
Oh God.
And send it off to like 10,000 by 10,000.
Yeah.
Put down another one, send it off to 10,000 by negative 10,000, etc., so that nothing in my scene moves. And even then, it still breaks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I joined like the Discord for the Studio developers and was like, hey, is there any way we can do this? Is there any way we can make this a feature? And I was met with a resounding no.
Yeah.
Sick.
Do you what's the other rendering?
Blender.
Well, not Blender. Isn't there like Mecha Brick or something?
Oh, yeah. Blue Bricks or something like that.
There's another. Yeah, there's another rendering. Let me pull this up. I don't know if this is another build and render your 3D models. I don't know if this has an animation. or not. But I know a lot of people use Mecha Bricks. They like the rendering out of it better than they do Bricklink. And I don't know if Bricklink has made improvements to their photoreal, POV ray, whatever.
Honestly, like the renders for the most part end up looking okay. Like that's not the part I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's just for whatever reason, it's just the view that ends up getting screwed up.
Yeah, because you're not doing the animation part. Oh, also, this is all browser based.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, which is fine. It's light, it'll work for you. But where to go? You're not using the animation as it's intended within the program. You're doing like individual shots and then you're animating those, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But because of that, you have to have precise images that you have to render every time.
Precisely and exactly.
Yeah. Versus the animation they have, which is just like it dropping all the bricks into one location.
Yeah. No, and it has the built-in thing, and I imagine that's why they told me no as far as putting that in as a feature. I'm one like bear just out here doing this as far as like animation. I'm aware that it's dumb. I'm aware that what I'm doing is silly. Like,
but I mean, that's stop motion animation though. That should be like, there's so many people that do stop motion animation. You'd think that a company that has one of the preeminent design tools would also that also has an animation feature kind of dipping its toes into the market would have a better way to, do stop motion, which relies heavily on where was this model last in space, I don't know. Maybe if enough people complained about it, they do something.
Maybe not even just where is the model in space, quote unquote, but because like there's plenty of times where I have stuff moving and I want the object that's moving to not move with the camera.
Mm-hmm. Where was this last or something at least?
Yeah. Well, and again, if I could just set grid coordinates for, okay, here's the camera, I will select the quote unquote angle that it's got.
Right.
But give me that at the very least.
Well, I was gonna say, do you when you do your camera setup, do you do preset coordinates and everything on that? Because you can do X and Y. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I do that.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Is you can, so like Ben, I'll demonstrate it for you right now.
Okay.
Go into your thing.
I'm already there.
Oh, you're already there. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, save your preset, right?
Okay.
Now, save it. Close out the window. Now go into it again. Okay, we have where this is and where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, I didn't move it. Hold on. Well, let me
that's fine. You don't have to move you don't have to move the camera at all. That moving the camera is not my issue, for the most part. But what I'm saying is like that, keep in mind where this is, where the camera's looking, right?
Yeah.
So now close out the render.
Okay.
Now, just take one of your top pieces and just hit the arrow key up a couple of times. Just send it higher than what your build currently is.
Okay.
Now, go back into the render. This is what I'm talking about. It because the quote-unquote size of your build changed, even though if you go down and look at your default, right? If you look at the way you set it, It's saying that it's saved. It's saying that there's nothing to change.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my issue. That's what's happening. And so that's why I have to create these giant builds in order to make the camera stay in one place.
Yeah.
And I have to be careful about not sending bricks too high or too low. Introducing stuff. It's also really picky if you want to put the camera inside of a brick.
Oh yeah, definitely. That I do know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. If you leave it there, if you or at the very least, like it's so strange. You can put it like in front of a wall, but when you go to like close it out and render the next frame, it puts the camera behind the wall for some reason. It's like it doesn't like having any bricks behind it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
I think it's probably because it's there's I almost feel like when it gets to this point, it's not procedurally thinking. It's not like I'm only viewing what's in front of me. It's trying to remember everything.
Right.
And then it loses everything that it's like, well, I have to remember negative space in my whatever I'm computing.
And that's what I'm hoping, is that being able to, because like obviously in the build, right, it has the coordinates, it has the ability to like set where something is sitting.
Yeah.
But why that isn't transferable to the rendering camera, I have no idea. Or like we have pieces that are for render only, right? We have pieces that
rubber ones or the lumen ones or whatever,
are luminous, etc. I use a lot of those for my animations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And why can't we have a render only camera brick, right? It could even be one of those old timey like film reel, cameras. Like they have the pieces for it. I know they do.
Right.
So I just wish it would have been better explained to me, like, why this wasn't possible. Again, I recognize that I'm very likely the only person that's doing this kind of animation.
The internal conversation went, does anyone know what the hell this guy's talking about?
Right?
No? Just tell him no.
Just tell him no.
That's a very IT thing. Like we've had that conversation with our users where we're like, I don't know what they're talking about. Just say no. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, and those in the chat, it's after 10, and I'm going to turn it into a pumpkin.
Sure is.
Save your work. Bab.
Always.
This is a lot of fun, hanging out and chatting.
Definitely.
So next week, hopefully, I will have time to maybe throw together. Maybe what we'll do is I'll put together Johnny's favorite Blacktron set. Studio. We'll do this in studio.
Okay.
And we'll turn it into something else. We'll turn it into. We'll figure something else out. I'm sure. We'll turn it into like a Friends set or an Elves set or something.
I like this plan.
Yeah.
It's a good plan.
Kind of like what we did with the Dream set. We'll just kind of theme bend it a little bit and figure out what we can do. But yeah, that it's a small enough one where I can get that done by then. And Matt, thanks for hanging out in the chat. I know we kind of went off a little bit on a really niche, crunchy tangent there, but I appreciate you sticking it out. And I look forward to seeing you again on Saturday if you can make it. Missy, thanks for hanging out. Frankie was here for a bit, but nobody cares about Frankie. No, just kidding. Frankie's stand-up dude. So I will be back on Sunday. I don't know doing what yet. Maybe more of this. Maybe building something. Haven't decided yet. Vab, will you be back next week as well? Wednesday, right?
Yeah, next Wednesday at 8.
Cool.
8 Eastern.
Johnny may or may not be back Tuesday. If he's doing a thing this weekend, he may be recovering. So I guess just keep an eye on his channel. And then keep an eye on Kodiak's channel because I'm sure a fun animation will present itself at some point.
I've always got something in the works.
Always got something. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I will talk to you guys later.